Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here again, taking those stacks of sources, pulling out the key bits to help you get, truly well informed. And today, we're diving into a concept that might just change how you look at, well, everything around you. How you see a sudden rainstorm or how a plan works out, maybe even how nations rise and fall. Last time, we started unpacking God's providence, this really big idea that God isn't distant. He's actively involved in sustaining everything. We zeroed in on preservation. That's the continuous divine action, keeping everything existing, holding on to its properties. Remember those scriptures. Christ upholding the universe by the word of his power.
Right. And that word upholding, pharo in Greek, it means continually carrying along. It's active.
Exactly. And Colossians saying, in him all things hold together, that implies this permanent, ongoing cohesion.
Without it, the sources suggest everything would just stop, cease to exist.
It's a mind-bending thought, really. But, okay, here's where the plot thickens today. We're on to the second piece. Concurrence. This isn't just God keeping things existing. This is about him actively cooperating with his creation.
Cooperating. How so?
Directing their specific properties, making them act the way they do. Think of it less like just maintenance and more like conducting an orchestra.
Ah, okay. So not just preserving the instruments, but guiding the music they make.
That's a great way to put it. So our mission today is to explore how this divine cooperation works everywhere, from tiny atoms to big human choices. Get ready for some maybe aha moments, because this really challenges some common ideas about how the world works.
It really does. And what's fascinating, this idea of concurrence, it's fundamentally how God makes everything work out according to his plan. You see it in Ephesians 1:11, talking about God working all things according to the counsel of his will. That word works. Energeo, it implies effective power.
So like supernatural energy making things happen.
Exactly. It's not just a wish. It's effective action bringing about his purposes. It's not a passive thing at all. John MacArthur has a great point here. He says God's creations are not only created ready to function, they are created functioning.
So unlike our inventions, which need tweaking and updates.
Right. God's designs, they work perfectly from the get-go, perfectly calibrated, continuously guided.
Okay, but if this is happening all the time, why don't we always see it? We see physics, biology.
That's the key point. This concurrence, it isn't always obvious just by looking at the natural world. It's a deeper reality. It's something revealed primarily through scripture. It gives us that, unseen lens.
Like looking behind the curtain.
Kind of. Job 37.5 says it well. God thunders wondrously with his voice. He does great things that we cannot comprehend. It's often hidden from our direct sight.
Okay, that's a crucial distinction. It's revealed, not just observed. So if it's happening on this unseen level, what does it look like in practice? Let's try and, see it in action. Starting with the inanimate world, the natural stuff.
Good place to start. Scripture is surprisingly direct here. It says God is the ultimate cause behind what we often just call natural phenomena. Think about the weather. We talk about pressure systems, fronts.
Right, the usual forecast stuff.
But listen to Job 37.6. For to the snow, he says, fall on the earth. Likewise to the downpour, his mighty downpour. It sounds like a direct command.
Wow. So not just physics in motion, but God speaking it into action.
That's the picture it paints. And think about storms. Job 38 describes God having storehouses of the snow and carving channels for rain. Even the stars, the cosmic order. Job asks, can you bind the chains of the Pleiades or loose the cords of Orion? Do you know the ordinances of the heavens?
Implying he does know and control them.
Precisely. These aren't presented as random processes. And closer to home, Psalm 104 says, you cause the grass to grow for the livestock and plants for man to cultivate.
So every time grass grows, every time it rains, there's this deeper active direction happening.
That's the implication. It's not just blind physics. It's an intentional carrying along and directing. It really makes you see a simple rain shower differently, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Okay, what about living creatures, animals? How does this divine cooperation show up there?
Well, the same kind of direct care and provision seems to extend to the animal world, too. God's actively involved. guiding instincts, providing food. Job 38 asks those searching questions. Can you hunt the prey for the lion or satisfy the appetite of the young lions? Who provides for the raven its prey?
The answer being, obviously, God does.
Right. It implies their successful hunt isn't just luck or skill alone.
Yeah.
And Psalm 104 mentions springs that give drink to every beast of the field. Basic needs provided.
Simple but profound if God is actively ensuring it.
And maybe the most striking one is Matthew 10.29. Jesus says, not one sparrow will fall to the ground apart from your Father.
Not one. That implies incredible attention to detail.
Doesn't it? Continuous, active involvement in even the smallest lives.
So it's not just a lucky find for the bird or a random hunt for the lion. There's this consistent act of provision happening. That's a remarkable insight. But, okay, the big question for a lot of us. If it applies to snow and sparrows, what about us? Human life, our choices, our plans.
That's the crucial connection, isn't it? And the sources suggest it absolutely applies to us. Even things that seem totally random to us. Think about rolling dice or flipping a coin.
Pure chance, right? 50-50.
From our perspective, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But Proverbs 16.33 says, the lot is cast into the lap, but every decision is from the Lord.
Every decision, even a coin flip.
That's what it says. We see chance, but the outcome is framed as being ultimately from God. Now, people might bring up Ecclesiastes 9.1 on time and chance happen to them all.
Yeah, that sounds like it contradicts the Proverbs verse.
Well, it needs careful reading. Chance, there isn't suggesting something outside God's control. Scripture is really consistent about God's sovereignty. Instead, it seems to mean what's unexpected or unpredictable from our limited human viewpoint.
So things don't always go as we plan or expect, regardless of our effort.
Exactly. Solomon's point seems to be that human success isn't guaranteed by skill or speed alone. It's subject to God's timing and, the unpredictable events of life in this world. It counters that illusion that we have ultimate control.
Okay, that clarification helps. But here's where my head starts spinning a bit. We know how grass grows, right? Botanists explain it. Sun, water, nutrients.
Sure, the science is clear.
And meteorologists explain rain, humidity, pressure.
Yep, we understand those processes.
But the sources we're discussing affirm that it's also God causing the grass to grow and the rain to fall. How can both be true? Doesn't one cancel the other out?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's where the doctrine of concurrence really comes into its own. It doesn't pit science against God. It explains that God directs and works through the properties he created.
Works through them.
Okay, so we observe what theologians call secondary causes. The sun, the water, the atmospheric pressure. These are real mechanisms.
Right, the things science studies.
Exactly. But God is the unseen primary cause behind it all. He planned it. He initiated it. He sustains it. And he guides these secondary causes to achieve his ends. Think about it like this. Why is a rock hard?
Because of its molecular structure?
Yes, that's the secondary cause. But why does it have that structure? Concurrence would say, because God made it with the property of hardness. Same for water being wet.
So God established the properties, and now he works through them.
Precisely. He's not constantly intervening against nature. He's orchestrating through the nature he designed. Those secondary causes are real, and he uses them.
So it's okay to understand the meteorology of rain, but also thank God for sending it.
Absolutely. You're acknowledging both the secondary means and the primary source. He's the ultimate provider.
Yeah.
Working through these natural processes.
That makes a lot more sense. It connects the dots. Okay, so this applies to nature. Does it scale up? What about huge things like nations and history?
The sources say yes, absolutely. Scripture talks a lot about God's hand in the affairs of nations. Job 12 puts it bluntly. He makes nations great, and he destroys them. He enlarges nations and leads them away.
That sounds pretty definitive, not just economics or military might.
Nope. And think about Nebuchadnezzar's testimony in Daniel 4. After he was humbled, he acknowledged God's everlasting dominion and that God does according to his will among nations, and none can stay his hand.
A powerful king admitting he wasn't ultimately in charge.
Right. And Acts 17 says God determined the allotted periods and the boundaries for every nation. It speaks to this huge, overarching plan for history.
Wow. From snowflakes to empires. It's quite a scope.
And it gets even more personal. This idea of concurrence touches every part of our individual lives, too. Even something as basic as working for a living. We put in the effort, right? That's the secondary cause.
Sure. Got to pay the bills.
But Philippians 4.19 reminds us, my God will supply every need of yours. He's presented as the primary provider, often using our work as the means.
Okay, so he provides through our efforts.
That seems to be the idea. And it goes deeper. Think about your lifespan, your destiny. Job 14 says our days are determined, our limits appointed. Psalm 139 talks about our days being written before one of them existed. Jeremiah mentions being known before birth.
That's incredibly intimate, predetermined days.
It points to a profound level of divine foresight and planning for each individual life.
What about our plans and actions? We make plans all the time.
We do. Proverbs 16.1 says, the plans of the heart belong to man. That's our part. But the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. And verse 9, the heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps.
So we plan, but God directs the outcome. He steers.
That's the picture. It suggests our planning is real, but the ultimate result, the actual path, is governed by him. Success and failure, too. Psalm 75 is very clear. Promotion doesn't come from east or west, but it is God who executes judgment, putting down one and lifting up another.
He's the one promoting and demoting ultimately.
Yes. Even our talents and abilities. 1 Corinthians 4 asks, what do you have that you did not receive? It frames them as gifts.
Okay. This is a lot. It sounds like God is controlling absolutely everything.
That's certainly the strong impression given by these texts, yes. From the smallest detail to the largest event.
Which brings up the elephant in the room, right? If God is establishing my steps, determining outcomes, even influencing rulers, like Proverbs 21 says, he turns the king's heart like water.
Yeah, where does that leave our choices, our free will?
Exactly. Are my choices just illusions if God is orchestrating everything? Am I just a puppet?
That is the critical tension. And it's where the careful definition of concurrence becomes so important. It's nuanced because Scripture also strongly affirms that our choices are real. They're genuine choices with real consequences, and we are held responsible for them.
Yeah, both are true. God's in control, and my choices are real and matter.
That's what the sources consistently present. God causes all things, yes, but he does it in such a way that he upholds our ability to make willing, responsible choices. Remember how God gave rock the property of hardness? The idea is he gave humans the property of making real, willing choices. He works through that property, not against it.
Okay, he works through our willing choices. But how? How can he guarantee his plan if my choices are genuinely free?
And that how? Well, Scripture doesn't fully spell it out. It seems to be one of those divine mysteries.
A paradox we have to accept.
It seems so. It might be beyond our finite minds to fully reconcile God's absolute sovereignty with genuine human freedom and responsibility. Theologians have wrestled with it for ages. But the approach suggested by the sources isn't to deny one truth because we can't fully grasp how it fits with the other.
So embrace both based on the revelation we have.
Exactly. Faithfulness to the whole counsel seems to mean holding both God's meticulous providence and our real responsibility in tension, even if it makes our heads hurt a bit.
Wow. Okay. What a deep dive indeed. We've gone from atoms holding together to rain falling to lions hunting to nations rising to our own steps being established, all under this umbrella of concurrence.
It really is a comprehensive concept. And if you connect it all, like you said, to the bigger picture, it offers this incredible sense of underlying purpose and order. Even when life feels chaotic or random, understanding concurrence can shift how you see those moments. Maybe they aren't random. Maybe there's a divine hand working through the natural properties, the secondary causes.
It definitely makes you rethink things. That natural event, that chance encounter, that lucky break. Maybe it's all part of this divine orchestration.
Recognizing that invisible primary cause working through all the visible secondary causes we see every day.
It adds a whole new layer to reality, doesn't it? A profound depth. So here's something to chew on as we wrap up. The next time you marvel at a sunset, or you achieve something you worked hard for, or you see a major world event unfold, Ask yourself, how might recognizing this hidden hand of concurrence, God working through the properties He created, change how you think about gratitude, or how you make plans, or how you understand who's ultimately in control in your own life?
Does it bring comfort? Does it inspire awe? Does it challenge you to look deeper?
Lots to think about. We encourage you to ponder these insights from our deep dive today.